So hi and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a weight reduction video on the G-Wolf Skoll here. You've all asked for this and voted for it on my website. Put the links in the description so you can do that as well for any other mice. A lot of you asking for the S2 and a ton more other mice to reduce. I've still got to do the G-Pro Wireless Stage 2, Stage 3 as well, and the G502 Lightning, so I have quite a bit to do. And I haven't got much time at the minute, but I'm hoping to get these done very, very soon. As you voted for the G-Wolf Skoll here, I'm going to do it, even though I think we're not going to get much weight off this, to be fair, because it's already a ultralight mouse. The people that have been watching me all know I've still not done the Model O- or the MM710 reviews, which are coming probably in the next week, so keep your eye out for those. And a few people have asked to do a voiceover while doing the teardown to give you some other ideas, so I'm going to do that today as well instead of some music. What we've got here is the standard tools that I use. I've got the nylon tool here, which I'll put links in the description for everything that I am using here. I've got a screwdriver, which is a 0050 pH. We've got the scales here, that are the larger set, and the smaller scales with a higher increment to understand the weight difference. So the G-Wolf Skoll here comes in at 66 grams, fully loaded here. I'm going to use a hairdryer to take the skates off. A lot of you have told me that I can also use lighter fluid, and I'm still yet to do that because it's not as easy to get hold of these days because everyone's now using vaping, but we will do that. They're coming at 0.6 millimeters in the skate size here if you're interested. While you're removing the skates, you can bend them a little bit, so just be careful. You might need to get some replacements, but if you're careful enough, you can just put them back on. You might need to use some M3 tape to allow them to re-stick as well, because they do lose some stickiness over time when you're taking them off. So the Skoll here comes apart with two screws on the back rear feet, so you won't need to take the front skates off if you don't want to. And then you just pull it apart here. It's slightly clipped at the front, but it's quite an easy mouse to take apart. This one does fall to pieces. That's because I've already taken it apart, but I seem to have stripped maybe the screw that attaches the PCB here. So just be careful when you're taking yours apart. Hasn't found any problems with the mouse when I've done that, but something just to be careful of. So each one of these side pieces that just diffuse the RGB are around 1 gram here. We're not going to put those back in, we've taken them out. Anything on the left side we're going to leave out of the mouse, anything on the right side we're going to put back into the mouse. What's good here to see from G-Skoll is they attach the side buttons using a clip here, so you can put these on and off as you wish. So if you want to try playing without them, you can take them off here. And you can save yourself 4 grams, plus the buttons inside the shell. And if you want to put them back, they're easy enough to do that. They don't damage them, so they're not a permanent change here. So that's it really on the PCB. What I decided to do here also is take off the shielding for water resistance. Again, this isn't going to save much weight, but every little counts. You could trim around some of the PCB here if you wish to do that, but for me, I probably wouldn't do that unless you can work out where the tracings are, because you could damage the board here permanently. So you've got to be very, very careful. The coating here for water resistance does come off quite easily. You can see I'm just pushing around here using the tool that I've got, this nylon tool, and then just pulling it gently and peeling it off as we go along. Just be careful you don't pull it too hard here and you rip it. I managed to get it off in one piece, but it only saved 0.3 of a gram here, maybe 0.4. Taking a look at the base plate here as well, you've got the buttons for profile DPI here, and you could take these off. I mean, you're not going to save much here. Again, you're saving 0.2 of a gram here per side. So that with the plastic coating for the water resistance, you're probably saving a gram in weight. Side buttons again are a gram, so if you remove the left side buttons here, you're probably going to save yourself 5 grams. What I did do is split the shell, but you can see here there's not really much that you can trim out. You could try and thin some of the edging out here around the main shell part, but once you unclip the buttons, there's nothing really you can save. What I did consider doing here, and you might want to do it, is you could trim the back off the grey part of the shell here, and you could save yourself about 4 grams because the whole weight of that is 8 grams. And as long as you don't trim too far back to the clips it would clip back onto the other shell here, so you wouldn't have any issues, and you probably wouldn't feel it too much in the palm of your hand. But for me, I didn't see it being worth it here, but it's something that you could do. Obviously, that's going to be a permanent change though. You could also drill the buttons, but they're already drilled pretty much here to where you would be happy doing that. So for me, I don't see really much point in adding further holes into the front buttons here. You're not really going to get much benefit here. You maybe will save a gram maximum if you're lucky here. Some of the other things to note here while I'm putting it back together is you could also trim out some of the bar struts on the base plate for the side buttons if you don't want to ever put them back in. But again, this is a permanent change here. And again, you'll probably save about another 1/4 gram here. Overall, you might save around 4 grams if you're lucky by trimming out some of the shell, cutting the back off it, maybe another 4 grams. So around 8 grams with permanent modifications here, I would say. So the first one here is I'm just putting it back without the side buttons or the scroll wheel. A lot of people will use the scroll wheel. I personally don't gaming, so I could probably get away without it. I do for surfing, and the side buttons I generally use, which is probably where the main weight saving is here, to be fair. You'll notice I only put 1 screw in the base, and that's fine. There's no issue with that. Again, it's a little bit of a weight reduction here, but you're not going to save much, but why put a screw in if you have to, right? G-Wolf have done a pretty good job anyway in reducing the weight on this mouse. There isn't much really you can do unless you really want to butcher it. I'm not going to, because I need some other shape comparisons for the G-Wolf, hence I've not cut the back of it off here, but you could do that yourself if you wish. And the overall weight here comes in at 54 grams, so we've saved around 12 grams by taking out those components. It's not bad. 54 grams is quite a light mouse here. It's an ergonomic mouse, so it would be one of the lightest ergo mices here on the market. But you are sacrificing a scroll wheel and the side buttons. Again, I'm just showing you what is possible here. You could tailor this to how you want it to be for your preferences. Like I would say, I'd probably take the scroll wheel out, but I'd leave the side buttons in myself because I use those. So going back here, we're going to piece it back together with the scroll wheel, the side buttons. I'm going to leave a few little bits out of it and we're going to see what weight we get. Whether this is going to be worth it for you or not is up to you. Just be careful when you're putting the scroll wheel back in that the cable doesn't trap. There's a certain way to trace it around the motherboard. And if you're not careful, the cable will get under the scroll wheel and it'll cause it quite a bit of friction when you're trying to scroll through. So if you're feeling that when you put it back together, just go back and check the cable. You've not got it under the scroll wheel. It'd be nice to see from G-Wolf here a bit of a better design for the side buttons here. I think they could reduce some further weight by trimming these out a little bit because it is quite a chunky PCB here for the scroll wheel, but they're not bad. Just be careful when trying to clip it back in here. You don't damage the clip and it can be a little bit fiddly, but you can, once you feel it go in there, it's quite good. You can just push it down. It shouldn't be a problem for you. The side buttons on the side of the shell where these side buttons clip in, there is some reduction here in weight that you could do. You could Dremel out some of the struts that these clip into. They've also added a bit of reinforcement here so the side doesn't flex. And you can certainly take some of that out, but again, you might save about a gram in weight. What's good about the G-Skoll here is you can mess around with the configuration here to find the right weight, taking some of the weight reduction out, and then you can put it all back together without damaging it too much. If you want to do some permanent damage to it, you could probably save, I think, a bit of an estimate of around 10 grams, so you could get it down to the 44 gram mark. If you want me to do that, let me know in the comments, hit the like button, and I'll definitely do it if you guys want to see that additional weight reduction here when we really do go to town on it. What I do like to show is different sides of it. I don't want to show a full weight reduction, just chop it to pieces all the time, because not everyone wants to butcher their mice, but I'm happy to do that if people want to see it. So once put back together here, you can see we've left the side diffusers out. We've also left the plastic to insulate it from water resistance. We've left a screw as well with the profile buttons. So once we did all that weight reduction here, you can see it's come down to 64 grams. We have not lost much weight here. I would say it's probably around 3.5 grams of weight taken out of it because the scales here aren't able to show the 0.5 grams. And overall for me, you're not going to save much unless you're going to sacrifice the scroll wheel or the side buttons. You are really going to have to butcher the shell, probably the rear of it to save 4 grams, so 60 grams. And that's probably it really. You're not going to get much more off it. G Skoll here, credit to them, have done a good job here in reducing some of the weight. This is still going to be around a 60-gram mouse, unless you sacrifice scroll wheel or buttons. So I hope you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what else you want to do. Check out the voting system. I think the S2 is winning at the moment for the next weight reduction, but I do need to catch up with the other ones as well. So catch you all soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.